Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show. They clean up nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show, the Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
All right, welcome out to the Drew and Fuse Show. We are live here at Midwest DJs Live. We are with Mitch Taylor, past president of Midwest DJs Live, and we're going to talk all things Midwest Live here.
Yeah,
we're going to talk DJing on some cruise ships and just some music a little bit too. Drew, how are you feeling this morning? This is day two.
Day two. It's definitely, you know, the first party. You fly in. For being a West Coast guy, I think I'm not a lot of West Coast people are here, so I always feel that crunch when I get here. Like, it's a lot earlier for me than it is everyone else, so it just hits me like a ton of bricks. But I'm used to traveling, so I get into it. I mean, the parties have been amazing so far. It's been so much fun. We're having a blast.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm just tired myself, but everything's been good, and I like where the events are kind of all in one room and you don't have to like go here to there. It's always nice to kind of just be set in a spot. And
although I did like that the party changed last night for the girls event was it was a cool, like, all right, take a deep breath and get out of here.
It was a great spot.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the it was Trinity, the three different Irish pubs all there in one. And
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Trinity, 3 Irish pubs.
I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little slow on that. But when I did call the Uber, it had 3 different pickup spots.
Yes.
And yet it still picked me up on the other side of the block. Like, it was super weird.
I think that's just Uber in general. Every time I call an Uber, I'm like, does this guy know what's actually going on right now?
Yes.
He sees me waving, like jumping in the middle of the street.
And you're like, look, you made eye contact with the Uber driver. You wave at him, and he just drives.
He almost wants me to leave so that he can.
I'm always sending the text.
Like,
I'm here.
We were in New Orleans, for Mardi Gras. And excuse me. We were in New Orleans for Mardi Gras. It's open container down there.
Yeah, totally.
We had an Uber driver, like a XL, come to pick us all up.
Sure.
He's like, no drinks in my car. And we were like, okay. We turned around to like throw them away because they all had like little bits left.
Sure.
And he just pulled off.
What?
Did you get like clip for that or
no? So here was the thing. It was
shouldn't be charged.
Yeah, exactly. It was on Danny's phone, and if Danny cancels it, right, it charges you. But if the Uber driver cancels it, it doesn't charge you.
Okay.
So this dude, Danny, refused to cancel it. This dude drove around for like an hour and a half before canceling the ride.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm sure he was like on Lyft.
He was waiting
Uber and like using the other one, but it's just kind of funny.
Wow. Good for him. Waste his time.
Right? Exactly. There's him right for kicking you out.
So you've been here at Midwest for 10 years.
Yeah.
What's kind of the experience been for you, and like what are you most proud of kind of coming into this 10th year?
Oh man. Well,
it's changed drastically.
The show has drastically changed over the last 10 years. I mean,
has it always been in this hotel?
No.
Okay.
So this show, just to give you even please,
we're naive. I think we've only been here once. He's never been here.
Mitch. This show started out in the back of a pub in RACINE, Wisconsin, which is a little town in between here and Chicago, basically.
Right.
And just guys like getting together and sharing their gear and lighting and knowledge and mixing, and that type of vibe. And then it kind of evolved from there. It was once called YouTube DJs Live. Until they got a cease and desist from YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And then it became Midwest DJs Live. It was the final iteration.
It got that big where YouTube had to reach out.
it was a thing. Like the letter came in.
Wow.
And so it was, on their channels and everything. So that's kind of how that went.
No, I get it.
So it became Midwest DJs Live, I think in 5, and then I became involved with the show. I want to say Midwest DJs Live 6.
Okay.
Was 2014. I was a speaker at that show. It was at Fontainebleau Hall or something in Racine again. And then we grew the show. It was Crown Plaza, Milwaukee for a little bit. Joe Bunn and I were chatting literally just yesterday. And he's like, man, you come so far with this show. He goes, I remember Midwest DJs Live 9. We were at that airport hotel and you just had the, the projector and the pull-up screen, and it was, that was the production.
Yeah.
It was 2014,
Oh, yeah.
And even 2013, I made a joke with someone who's like, man, we thought we were big because we had a spotlight on stage.
Now you guys got full on.
Now we got full on.
Yeah.
Chris Hintz and his team at Pinnacle just kill it every year.
They're next level for sure.
Next level. And so we're blessed. I think any organization can, look at this and not this, but this concept. You got to have the right people in the right seats on the bus. You know what I mean? To really grow an organization, a company.
Right.
I said at the end of last year, or at the start of last year, I should say, we kind of, start planning for this year. We're already in plans for 2026 right now.
Yeah.
Legit. Like we've got presenters signed. We've got some things worked out.
Right.
We're constantly working on
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I mean, I think some people don't understand, like they want like, oh, I want this or I want this, but it's like, if you don't pay, then we don't get the things. Like you need to contribute so that you're able to get the big speakers and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's just the evolution of the show. I before, I was a speaker for the show. I was vice president of education for the show, and back when I was running education for the show, I always focused on there are 6 facets to our business, to a mobile DJ business, if you will. And that's marketing, sales, operations, planning, production, performance. So I always wanted something for education, each one of those facets in the lineup. And then we kind of, filled in holes from there, what we're going to, fill in for the rest of the education lineup. And then became president of the show. And now I'm past president. We have Rich Lang as president, which Rich has been a great visionary for the show to grow it to new heights. And I said at the start of last year's, process for this show, I said, in my opinion, we have now gathered the most talented board ever assembled. This is a true 501c3 nonprofit, by the way. I don't know if anyone's mentioned that.
Explain that. I don't think a lot of people understand the level of what that is, really.
So none of us get paid.
Yeah.
I don't make a dime off this show.
Right.
To me, it's about, I want to give back to the industry that helped make me, that helps provide for my family. And I think this is a great way to do it.
I've said that on every single podcast and every single person I've talked to is, everybody kept telling me no. And I think it's different. The times have changed, right? Like being a DJ isn't today what I feel like my parents were like. It's almost like being in a band and being Nirvana, breaking, right? Like back when I started, or we all started. But nowadays, I feel like the entry level is a little bit more understandable for people, right? So it's still, I always feel that I wish somebody was at least a little bit louder back in the days. Like, you can do this, like it's possible, so it is cool that you are dedicating and looking out for the younger people and make sure they do it right or understand it right. Like treat it how I treated it.
And the resources available today,
right,
are just exponentially more.
Right.
Than we had.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I could say we. I mean,
no, it is for sure. I remember back in my days, I used to get I had a VHS, and I would the DMC DJ Craze battle, and I'd just like rewind it and be like, why is his needle turned that way? Or he's has stickers all over it. I got to try that, and like just learning that. That is how I learned it.
Yeah.
Right. We always talk about kind of what we think the future might look like with stuff. Do you have any goals still for the show and like what you would like to see it do or even grow to or anything?
The industry changing, even with just AI, it's like we could not talk about that today, and then next year it's like all we're talking about.
Yeah, we were one of the first shows to have a seminar on AI 2 years ago, so that was broached. Where do I want to see the show go? That's a great question. I think what makes this show unique is that it hasn't grown ridiculously, because I think you lose a little bit of the magic. We want to make sure that our people are taken care of. We want to make sure that our sponsors, our vendors, our attendees, they feel cared for. There's a little bit of a Midwest charm to things, which I don't think you always get at every interaction you have with another entity that's out there for education. We try to go that extra mile, whether it's an airport pickup, whether it's a vendor bag, whether it, something along those lines. And where do we want to take it? That's we've had lots of conversations about where the show's going.
Yeah.
Next year, do you plan on being at this location again?
Yes, we will be here again next year. There's even talk of this is almost a Drew and Fuse exclusive at this point.
That's what we like.
You're getting exclusives. We talked about changing the format a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I'll leave it at that, because frankly, that's where we're at this point.
Right.
I need to talk to our hotel people and see what we can do and work out a few different things. But to me, you always need to evolve.
Facts.
You can't rest on your laurels. And that's how I grew my company and how I grew in the industry, was always feeling like there's some young buck behind me who's going to come up and take my spot.
Yeah.
So I have to be working my ass off to grow and do things.
It's a smart thing to think of, I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's just always evolving, always seeing what's coming behind you,
Yeah.
I mean, everything's got to evolve. This show we do, it's changed. I mean, from the start to what we're doing now, and just how we look at it has changed. And I'm sure it's kind of the same for you. You're like, from the time it started to how I see it now, to,
yes,
what we did want to do to what I now want to do moving forward. So
it's crazy the growth that's experienced, and,
Yeah.
and you can say some of that is based upon the year we are. You could say some of that is based upon the economy or inflation or all those other things, right? But truly, it takes a group effort. There's 12 different board members. This isn't one guy marketing a show, pocketing all the money. We also have a DJs Loving DJs fund that our stage manager, 𝐿𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿𝐿, put together a few years back. That's part of our 501c3 nonprofit. And that's just money raised by our sponsors, or by our sponsors donating, and then our attendees, prize giveaway tickets and things like that, to help us be able to give back to a DJ in need. You never know when you may be that person.
Yeah.
So
totally. Jump in a little bit. We know that you did the cruise ships, and we wanted to kind of talk to you. I don't think we've had somebody on that we've talked to about cruise ships. Do you remember?
I don't know, but I guess at some point as I get older, or with less responsibilities, I should say, not older, but I thought it'd be is there a term for a carny for a cruise shipper? A cruisy?
that's a social host or assistant cruise director. Or maybe
because you're
cruise
traveling
director,
around, right? It
cruise
definitely
director.
takes a certain type of person that's able to dedicate being on a boat.
Yes.
And so that's what I mean. I'm not it's a little bit of a
That's because you get to sleep in a bathroom. It's like the size of a bathroom.
It is. Those cabins are tiny.
Yeah,
right.
Tiny.
a fold down bunk.
Right.
That's above your bathtub.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
not above the bathtub, but it's a fold down bunk for
Right,
sure.
right.
Yes.
And so maybe that has evolved, but back in the days when you're doing it, you are traveling. So were you stationed on the boat for a long time, get on, get off, or did you just go out for months and then come back and
great
dock?
question. So I was doing radio back in Maine. I'm from the state of Maine originally. I graduated from New England School of Broadcasting. Radio station I was at went bankrupt. I was making literally, I've said this story before, I was making $200 a week salary doing radio.
Yeah.
143.57 after tax.
Right. You have to have
I
a
still know
regular
this
job.
number. It's insane.
Yeah.
So I got the job offer for Carnival, and I leapt at it. I'm like, why am I not doing this?
Right.
So 3 weeks later, I'm on, getting a flight and checking to the DoubleTree in San Pedro, California, and
Yeah, that's by my house.
jumping literally
Yeah.
jumping on Carnival Cruise Lines. Did that gig for several, 2 years.
Okay.
And it was funny. I get on board ship. My social host says to me, because I was just radio guy back then.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's make sure we know the situation
Yeah.
here. Radio. My social host says, "You're a DJ and you can't mix." I'm like,
Well, this is like CD.
this is
era?
like 95.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is
So records, you
1995.
got vinyl. Like
okay?
where are you?
So
at
a
with
great
it?
question. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm going with this, Drew,
Yeah.
too. Is we had a Carver tape deck.
Okay.
We had Techniques
Yeah.
1200, and then I had a Denon 2000F.
Okay.
And the ship, had a dual CD player. It was
Yeah.
the very first iteration of those before Master Tempo was even a thing.
Right.
It was
Right.
not a thing. You had the pitch bend. That was
Yeah.
it. And I had to basically choose sources and choose mixes based on sources.
Right.
Because the stuff I had on vinyl, I didn't have on
Oh, yeah.
CD, or the CD I
Yeah.
didn't have on cassette,
Yeah.
or so you had to choose your mixing and programming.
Right.
It's not like it is today.
Right.
You can do anything into anything.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that back then.
Right. No, it's exactly how I used to play.
Yeah, and so it was just like you had to teach yourself, and I taught myself how to mix back then, rudimentary, obviously. But in the one side of the CD, that we had 2 CD decks. One side, the ship vibration knocked out the lasers, so you really only had 1 CD player to spin off of.
Yeah.
So it was just my first mix ever, I think, was stupid simple. Here comes the hot stepper, 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐿, and this is how we do it, Montel. I think.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But again,
Yeah.
super simple. But again, you learn, right?
And
grow.
so he's like, you don't know how to mix. And what happened there from that?
Well, I just okay. Well, I got to learn.
Yeah.
What does that look like? And so I just started putting things together, and slowly was able to figure out, okay, this is BPMs, and this is how you do things. And look at the vinyl on 128. Okay,
Right.
we kind of figured out from there.
That's the first time it really clicked in my head.
Like,
Was
pump
like,
up the jam. But
wait, all you're telling me is all I have to do is move this 2 and they work? Oh, I'm like, it's so early in
we
the
didn't know
era
keys
that-
back then. That wasn't even part of the
No, that
equation.
was good luck. It was just a lot of slamming.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
So what did the day-to-day look like? Did you have to play every day?
Oh gosh, great question. So 6 days a week, I was spinning 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. In the club on board ship, and then 1 day a week was usually Puerto Vallarta. Wednesday was our Puerto Vallarta day. Every Sunday was San Pedro. Every Wednesday was Puerto Vallarta. Every Thursday was Mazatlan,
I've been on that.
and every
exact
Friday
cruise.
was Cabo San Lucas. It's like you just repeat that route.
Yeah.
Just roll every week.
So they just put you up over there in Pedro? You kind of live there? Or?
No, you
So
live on the ship.
You live on the ship. Oh,
Yeah, we
so
live on the ship.
It's a cruisy.
Yeah.
You live on the ship. That's top 10 stupidest questions ever told in a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Do you live in the ship? No, we flank it in jet skis, and they ring us up when it's time to come in.
Right. But it's different now. I think now that we've been talking about the cruise ship, I'm recalling we did talk to somebody, and I remember them
cool.
saying that because DJing is just so obviously then your equipment all stayed one place,
Yes.
and now it's not.
Now it's not a thing. Now it's mobile.
Everything's mobile. So
Yeah.
you have the DJ that's playing on the swim deck for a couple
Yes,
hours now,
yes.
and you're doing this, and
Yes.
you're doing that, and
Back then, that wasn't the case.
No.
right, you were just in the on
Just in
ship
the club. Just in the club. Now you could, and I did, offer to host. Some of the tours. They had video
Right.
diary. They called it back then.
Yeah.
You had to go host a tour and be with the guests as they go on this tour and do the video thing.
Extra money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like extra $40 or something.
Have you gone on any cruises since?
Yes. I love cruising, frankly.
Really? Was
Yeah.
Did this harbor your love for it, or was it?
So my last cruise I went on was a 12-day Mediterranean cruise. I've sailed on almost every cruise line. I've been on over 100 cruises.
What's the move then?
Which
Like, if
one do
you've
you
been on
like
every
best?
cruise,
Yeah.
Well, it depends what you want to do. So my favorite, Windstar was my favorite.
Oh.
and it's much smaller. It's 13,000. I think their largest is a 13,000 ton yacht, which is only 100 people on board.
Right.
Versus the cruise ships today
Are massive.
massive. You're 5,000, 6,000 people on board. That'd be back in my day, but the very first ship I was on was only 48,000 tons.
Yeah.
The Carnival Imagination, which is both ships I lived on, are now defunct. But Imagination was like 90,000 tons, 70. Yeah. Small.
I just recently went on 2 cruises. One was a Mediterranean cruise, and one was just out of Fort Lauderdale. But we went on the Mediterranean one was Royal, and
Yeah,
Fort
mine was
Lauderdale-
Royal too.
the other one was Celebrity, and
Okay.
I went on a cruise when I was 13, and it was a Carnival Fantasy. And
Oh,
then
God.
I was looking it up and like looking up the size difference from the boats from
Fantasy's a 70,000 ton ship, sister ship to the Imagination.
yeah, and then just how
Yeah.
big. And then the 2 boats that we went on were in this day and age considered small boats to what is now coming out. Because
Right.
those small boats they still use for the Mediterranean.
Sure. Yes, they do.
Because
Yep.
the docking basically.
Yes.
They can't put those giant boats over there.
Well, and the other reason is that the Med cruises are very much a destination in and of themselves.
Right.
They don't need the ship to be the destination.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can put an older ship on the Med run because people are going to go because it's the Med.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They're not going for the ship.
I
per
only
se.
have interest in working on a cruise ship, a cruisy. I don't have zero interest in going on cruise ships
I think
because
if you went, you would be like, "This is awesome." It has such a
I
bad.
just totally disagree. So the way I like to vacation, I'm saying I understand. I'm just saying the way I personally like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
vacation is I like zero plans. Is I have the flight in, the first day stay, and the flight out, and the last day stay, and that's it. The rest of it is like
But that you can do that. It's just
You can do that
Yeah.
on a cruise.
Yeah, you'll just be like,
no, you have to get on and off at a certain point. I'm
you
saying
don't
like
have to get on or off.
or then
or
you
back
lose the
on.
rest of it.
You can
then
get
you have to
stuck
get
in the
off.
city.
You
and
could
fly.
argue. You could argue then you're wasting the port is what you would argue.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it,
Well,
yeah,
you go meet them back up at everything. I see, like if I like a city, then I want to just stay there, right?
That's fair.
And then just get in that I could spend the rest of the time there, and then go back to somewhere else. I'm saying for me, I'm
Yeah.
not saying
that's why
it's
there's
wrong
difference-
or if I
yeah.
would change my mind. I'm just saying as of this moment, that's how I like to travel.
That's fair. That's fair. People until you've done it, it's hard to.
Totally.
And
And I've only done that Mexico run, and I've lived right by Mexico, so I've been
Yeah,
1,020,000,000 times.
Right.
So getting off is not the top priority for
right
me over there.
And I've been through 3 hurricanes on board ship. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, I remember one time we had to turn. We literally was going to hit Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
And the hurricane said it's going to go inland. It's going to go inland. It's going to go inland, and it didn't.
Oh,
and we turned
man.
around at 3 a.m. and started heading back north.
Yeah.
And we ended up porting in Ensenada, Mexico,
Yeah.
which is just a step above Tijuana. It's
Yeah.
not that much better
Yeah,
at all
yeah.
than TJ.
That's where we would go, Ensenada or
yeah.
Rosarito.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I know where you go.
I spent my 18. I spent
exactly where you
18
go.
to 21. It
Yeah.
was the years that I spent in all those cities.
Ensenada, we ported there one time when I was walking off the ship doing some
Yeah.
window shopping, and I was walking with this girl, and she saw this, lip, gloss, whatever,
Sure.
in the window. She went inside the store and grabbed it, and she turned it up, and it was a knife blade.
I used to buy knives there. We'd always look for switchblades.
Yeah, it's a knife blade.
Or
I'm like,
the
okay.
butterfly, but switchblades. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we were on the hunt for.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
That was the hot commodity down there.
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time.
But I love my time on cruise ships. I cut my teeth there. I learned there. I grew as a performer.
Right.
Reading crowds from all over the world. People traveling, and you have people that you interact with on board ship. All the workers are from all over the world, and it's a completely different environment.
So from the time that you got done with the cruises, and we know you do a lot of sales, and you're doing sales for other companies and helping with that.
Yes.
What kind of was the journey then from cruise to then getting into the sales?
Oh
stuff?
gosh. Well, I started writing for different industry publications. I joined a online board, Disc Jockey America. I started writing for different publications, whether it's Disc Jockey News or ADJ newsletter, and then that led to speaking. So writing led to speaking. I've spoke at conferences all over the world, frankly, England and Australia and, Canada and,
What's your favorite one?
um, man, Australia treated me right. And the boys in the UK treated me right too. They were all like so welcoming,
Yeah.
so gracious with their time and, my wife and I got to experience Sydney and Brisbane and Adelaide. And, I never would have done that.
Right.
DJing has taken me so many places.
Yeah, you just got to be open to it and be able to see it for what it is. I mean, I think we were talking with Mike, and it's just this. He calls himself what is it? Something entrepreneur, basically.
Like an accidental.
That's not his forte, and so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was saying, and I totally disagree with him after we were having the conversation, but it is one of those things where you have to be able to just open your eyes and see a path that no one else can understand.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to be open and willing to just go with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of what the sales was. And I always loved sales. And I knew of this guy named Jeffrey Gitomer, and I reached out and ended up doing a certification thing he offered for, I don't know, $200 or $300, whatever the hell it was. And so I just dovetailed that into speaking about sales. And then I wrote the book Sales for Event Pros for the DJ industry, where I basically outlined sales as like an acronym, search, approach, learn, explain, solve. And so that was a 5-step process to sales that I developed and put in the book, and then did workshops on it. And then Rob Ferre, you mentioned earlier, Drew, about being open, right?
Yes.
Rob Ferre said to me, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago now, he's like, hey, you know what you should do? You should sell for other DJ companies. I'm like, I sat on it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? It's a pretty genius idea.
Well, okay. So
And it's
to circle back in why
Yeah.
Midwest or going to any show is important. And we have a lot of young DJs. We have a couple of friends of mine that just decided to make the leap and come because we talk about it on the show. And
Right.
so
sure.
what I want to circle back in this is these conversations, like everyone says the lobby conversations or the lunch
Education's
conversations
in the
are
hallways.
really what it is, right? So you're
Yeah.
saying you talked to Rob and that's where the light bulb went off. I mean, we were talking with someone at lunch yesterday, and it was like, me and him, we're like, if we just took our own fucking advice, we would be so much farther off, but we
Right.
don't. But we're like giving all this advice. And he's like, oh, I love all of that. We're like, yeah, okay, now you're gonna be filthy rich, and we're gonna be sitting here in the slums.
Poorhouse.
We're always the idea men. I feel like
Which
with
that's great.
everything we do, we're the idea guys. But we need to become the execution guys.
so
For sure.
you go around and you're selling. It's great that you're able to open your eyes and see this. And I struggle with sales because I don't care, and I'm more at this point of you want it or you don't. And I've stayed busy enough with it. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying that's how I've lived my life.
Sure.
Right. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I need like a giant leap to the next level.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. So first I would say, are you happy where you're at? Or do you want,
Of course.
like, do you see
I'm
it?
always happy.
Okay. So,
but no, I know what I want, and I know that that's going to take a lot of
okay. So
a lot of
you,
jumps.
So you do want to level up and figure out what's that next step.
No, okay, I guess, and I love this. I want you to almost so you can hire him and see how he does on this one. But
Here we
what
go.
I want is, I'm doing great, and I have a ton in the bank, and I could
Sure.
definitely keep doing this for a while, and I have a decent trajectory. What I think I want is getting the 10 years after this like 10-year run, I want what I'm gonna be able to like settle on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's where I'm starting to plan. So
Okay.
that's not gonna help you with this setup, but like where I guess the sales of why is it important that I need to start selling and leveling up to get some
Yeah, because
game plan.
time is our most precious commodity.
facts right there.
Time is your most precious
Yeah.
commodity. And I think there's a lot of DJs out there that don't like sales,
So I need a vision board.
or that they don't care. And I would argue, actually, oftentimes
yeah.
I make my best sales when I go into it like,
I don't care.
I don't care if they book or not.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I've been
Honestly,
selling. But yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
you know,
it's true.
if you just, I encourage everyone, like, when you're going into a sales meeting, blank slate.
Yeah.
Like, take everything else out of your head. Just
Right.
I'm in this meeting now. I'm connecting with this individual.
Right.
How can I help them? And
Yeah.
maybe you can, and maybe you can't. But don't even look at the money part. When you people, you know, it's the Tommy Boy thing, right? It's the you all seen the movie Tommy
Yeah.
Boy?
Right. Yeah.
A pretty
When
little
he's happy,
cat,
and you're selling. Yeah.
you know,
Tommy want wingy.
you know, and you screw it up when you get in that mental mind fuck of
Yeah.
the, you know, of the sales thing. You just
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah.
Like, just what can you do to help that next person, that person you serve in front of you? But I had this conversation with a DJ the other day, and it's a little different if you're a multi-talent versus a solo op, I think. But you need to be able to set aside that money, and you need to be able to, you know, look at what's gonna be able to help you keep that food on the table for your family. I've preached this for years. We didn't even talk about this coming into this, but it's a process I call 50-120. And especially for a solopreneur, you need, in my opinion, you need to have 50% down, and that 120 piece of the equation is, when do the leads dry up for your business? You know, is it 4 months out? Is it 3 months out? So if we're looking at October 11th, is a popular date on the calendar for 2025. Okay, I know it is for a lot of these my sales clients. It is.
So there's like 5 days of the year that are like the only days that anyone wants to get married.
Well, yeah,
And
exactly.
how do you? I would love to just be like, oh, I need to look at the calendar and go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. These
Yeah,
like 5
they're
days.
different every year, it
Yeah,
seems, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
weird. But
Right.
so when you look at that, it's like, okay, so when do I stop getting leads for that date? Is it 4 months prior? Is it so? To me, your final payment, especially if you're a solopreneur, your final payment date needs to coincide with that date, because you've lost your opportunity to earn income on that date. And if you only have, let's say, well, I only charge $250 for a retainer, I get my $1,750 or, you know, $2,500 or whatever 30 days prior. Well, someone cancels on you and you only got $250 and they owe you $2,500,
Yeah.
and you don't have the time. I mean, time is your most valuable resource
No, yeah, totally.
to make it up. Then we talk about that 10-year projection.
Right.
You've lost that opportunity to earn that money for that week that could go to help you on that 10-year projection.
Right.
You know, so that's where it all cycles back.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Of course.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-120 to me has been a huge game changer for my business. That and Profit First. I don't know if you've heard of Profit First before. Oh my God.
We're not salespeople at
We're not
all.
salespeople.
We're DJs
Well,
first.
this isn't a sales thing either.
Yeah,
But Profit First, it's a book written by Mike 𝐬𝐫𝐾𝐬. And it's, okay, the stupidest simple explanation of this: sales minus expenses equals profit.
Right.
That's really what every accountant, you know, basic accounting, right?
Right.
Sales minus profit equals expenses.
Yeah.
Take your profit out first, then allocate the expenses. Now you're always going to be profitable, even if it's 1%, even if it's, you know, $1,000, $10. You know what I mean? Like, are you really going to miss $10? You're not going to miss $10. You know what I mean? You're not. So
Probably spent double that on Starbucks this
well,
morning.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to miss it.
Yeah.
So just take that out.
Yeah.
Put it in a separate account. And that's, and I'm getting off the sales thing a little bit, but more the operations side. But those two pieces.
But this is all important stuff. I feel like, you know, a lot of conferences I've been to, I feel like that's stuff that sometimes goes missing. Is like things that we have a lot of things that are talked about, and then I feel like sometimes it's just missing pieces of like, oh, this is need to do this to save, to prep for the future, or like the end game, like entire end game, like how are you you know, what do you need to do to retire? And I know that's different for everybody.
It is,
you know,
and
but
numbers different for everybody.
I think it's like something that doesn't get talked about enough is like what does that look like, you know? And especially as DJs, like nobody wants to hang it up, you know?
Yeah.
That's like I never see myself not being a DJ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that meme of grandpa up there, like, you know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's off topic, but I guess going into like what AI is, it's like it's never gonna really know. I feel that us older DJs are gonna start getting more work. Maybe I'm naive to whatever it is, but I just feel that so little people can actually do
Read
or
a crowd.
dig to find what we could do.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it is digging into those crates deeper than you have before and looking into that. And like, I even had this conversation, and I'll, give credit where credit is due. I think Dave Lander turned me onto this thought process. I don't know if that's a dirty name in the podcast or not, but
No, all good.
but yeah, he inspired me on this, and to dig deeper than you normally do. It's like every DJ, and I had this conversation with couples in sales meetings. Every wedding DJ plays "I Got a Feeling." Seriously, "Yeah" by Usher. It's like we need to go further as performers, as talent.
Right.
And it's not because I want to be different as an artist. That can be part of the motivation, sure. But to me, it's about what is going to be that guttural reaction for that audience to be like, whoa, I haven't heard that song and then pack that dance floor. Right.
And we talk about all the time. It's like the curveballs.
Yeah.
having
I call them right turns, but yeah.
Just I mean, there's a fine line on when "I Got a Feeling" works. It's a great example, but
it's just so
it's turned
overplayed.
over so many times. Like I stopped playing it for 10 years, and now I feel like the younger generation was watching Alvin and the Chipmunks with it playing, and now they're like, when at my clubs, that's resonating not on the cheesy level that we see it at a wedding. It's resonating on a brand new "That's Amazing" song level.
Interesting.
In a different way. It's like we've been in it for so long, you're seeing the turns of a song.
Yeah. We were talking, and it's just funny, we were using AI to compile a list on an episode that hasn't released yet, but by the time this one comes out, it'll be out.
Okay.
And we were just going through songs. So we had AI make a list of songs.
Okay.
Take out any ballads, and then give us the top 20 songs for that year.
Okay.
And then so basically him and I were going, yes, I would play it. No, I wouldn't play
Got it. Love
or
it.
like
Love
what edit we are playing. And
Okay.
there's so many songs that you're like, wow, this is 15 years old now. It kind of makes sense why it's like a recurrent hit. And like "I Got a Feeling," I feel like what he's saying is like, for me, it was played into the ground when it came out.
Oh yeah, I saw playing.
Oh,
and then it became like
ridiculous.
Yeah. And then now it's like I haven't played it in 5, 6.
Been taken off the list, but now it's so big.
It's and there's like so many songs like that though, where I'm like, okay, I was over that one, and now it's like they were so not played that I deleted them off my computer, and now I'm going back.
Now you're going back and put them back in.
Yeah.
Got it.
I have just as much of a problem with that as getting rid of a lot of those songs. But now some of the songs that really, really hit are the C side, that song that when we were playing them. Okay, Tayo Cruz, for example.
Yeah.
Dynamite's the one, right?
Of course.
But and I don't know that this is really hitting, but like I've seen a lot of people trying to play "Hangover" or "Higher" because that just was not played out, but they were big hits.
Right.
Or
like the Justin Bieber, the "Eeny Meeny."
Yes,
right?
"Eeny Meeny."
That's like a good example. That was like
that's a great example.
It wasn't really a big hit when it came out, but now, like I'm playing it all the time for the 21 to 25. At the bar.
For whatever reason, maybe they got the album or whatever, but it was just that's their one, or maybe it was on I mean, really, we could go back to a lot of these like kid movies. You know, I use Alvin and the Chipmunks as an example because that was pretty heavy on music. So like that Party Rock Anthem and a lot of these like big songs. I mean, at this point are 15 years old.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking going through that list when we were going through it because I'm like, oh man, 15 years. Oh, this doesn't seem that long ago. And then it's like, oh, it is 15 years old.
Right.
That's
so you had mentioned we were kind of talking about this topic when we were prepping for this, and you had mentioned Mazzy Star Fade. And ironically enough, we walk over to the hotel and a cover version of that was playing. It was like Bjorn, and it was like a housey like cover indie remix of it. And I had to Shazam it because I was like, what version is this? It's so random, but
that's funny.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those tracks that are going to cause, and everyone's got different musical tastes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every client I feel has got different vibe, what they wanted. Maybe their parents influenced them heavy. Maybe they didn't. You know, Dave talks about what those high school, college years, right? Those formative years. And I agree with that. I think that's so important for us to understand and be able to program towards. But then to find some of those hidden tracks, those right turns, like I've mixed, gosh, often, you know, going out of a Hot in Here Nelly, you know, into a My Own Worst Enemy by Lit. You know, you're that old school, okay, well, what I wouldn't call old school, but my clients call old school now.
I grew up with Lit, and they're from my backyard, so they played all the shows.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they used to open up, so we'd go to the nightclub right when I turned 21, and they would have Lit would play at 8 before the club would open.
Oh,
so
really?
You would go to the show and you see all the bands, and then you would stay for the club.
Right.
That's funny.
Let's see. Well, did you want to talk some more like artists?
But we throw some artists out there, and then we'll just like say like the B-side track of it.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I think maybe we had like Rihanna first, right? Let's say We Found Love, wedding staple, right? For a lot of people. I was talking with somebody. We just made a bootleg with Pink Pony Club on the instrumental, and I was telling somebody that we had made that, and the person was like, oh, absolutely not. That's like top 5, the Rihanna one, right? That's top 5. I would never like not play it. I said, but you should, you could play it, the beginning of it, into the mashup, and now you've blown everybody's minds,
right?
Because you gave what they want, but now you're like elevating it right to the next level.
That's usually what I do. If there's like a song with a cool mashup, usually I try to play like both, like the mashup into the original, or the original into the mashup. One of the two. Whatever I feel is the bigger version is what I kind of say.
Well, so for We Found Love's example is like I do not play that at the nightclub. I not at all, because to me it's so played out. At the wedding or a corporate, yes, it's still like it does hit, but I almost 95% of the time I'm playing a mashup because I just feel like it kind of is played out. I don't know. That's where my head's at with it. I just would rather play like, so we're bringing it up, right? So this is what we came for. I play the hook first because it takes too long to get into it. But that song was really big for me. I mean, really, Rihanna's probably a bad list because I think you could play every one of her songs. She's got so many hits.
But the one I've been bringing back is I have a remix of Diamonds I've been playing.
Okay.
I feel like that trended on TikTok for a little bit recently. And that one's actually been working pretty well, which is funny because that one, like, I didn't play for a long time.
Right.
So that's one. Other one, this technically isn't Rihanna. It's David Guetta featuring Rihanna. Okay. Who's That Chick?
Yeah. I've been playing that every night.
Great
now.
track.
Yeah.
Been doing big.
Those are
great track.
All right. How about your boy Florida?
Flo Rida.
Florida.
Flo Rida.
I have not been playing this, but I think you could probably bring back GDFR.
Yes.
One down for real.
Yes. I unequivocally agree.
Yeah. And it's
even Right Round.
Oh yeah, well Kesha's big right now, so I have brought back Right Round.
The one that I play of his all the time is The Club Can't Handle Me. I play it all the time.
Yeah.
The one but the obvious is Low, right? Everybody wants to go.
Right, everyone wants to play low, but I
don't want to go low.
Same.
Low.
Same.
I brought back In the Air and the 𝐸.
Oh,
the other
yeah,
day.
okay,
Yeah,
all
we got
right.
the old DAFS bootleg of that.
Yeah, that's what I
If-
brought back,
if-
and it
if,
did pretty.
you know,
it
we haven't mentioned that we do have a DAFS Patreon, and if you want some of these exclusive edits and bootlegs that
There
you
you
can't
go.
find on direct music service, you could sign up for the Patreon and get those. So it hands in the AYER.
ERAYER.
Move, Shake, and Drop is another one
Okay.
from,
Move, Shake,
from
and
Florida.
Drop's good.
You know, I don't play My House, but I know that does kind of cross over to the country scene a little bit.
It does,
you
yeah.
know, so
the DMS edit of that.
yeah, you could kind of flip that. You mentioned Right Round, definitely. Yeah,
right.
I guess I'm just playing that's kind of
Here's the other one that we can talk about for
Okay.
this with some songs is T-Pain with his
Oh,
recent
yeah.
resurgence at the Coachella
Yes.
performance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched the whole I couch celloed all of T-Pain's performance, and it was so good. He crushed it. And I think you could bring back. I mean, look, at one point he was on every hook,
Right.
and yet, unlike Pitbull, I did not T-Pain songs, right? Whereas Pitbull, it was like I was Pitbulling songs because he was on too many.
Right. Totally. Collab
What-
was there.
What are some of the
Pain,
what are some of your
Wisconsin. I mean, we're in Wisconsin, so you got to go that, right?
Right.
it rhymes with mansion, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what would be like your go-to like top T-Pain song besides, I guess, Low?
Buy You a
he's on the
Drink
hook,
would be
but-
mine.
Okay.
But, yeah. And we have the DAFS blend of buy you a drink. It's called Buy Betty a Drink.
And then the other one is the Wisconsin Closer, Can't Believe It. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a DAFS bootleg of that. Up Down. Let's see. He's on Good Life. I mean, that's I guess can go either
You know
way on
what
that
I
one.
get requests
Cyclone.
for that I don't play that
Kiss,
I need
Kiss.
to is the greatest. It's like greatest love story. Great.
Okay.
Trying to find best love song is what it's called.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I get requests for that from time to time, and I never really play it, but I need to. I guess.
Kiss Kiss, I think is
oh, yeah,
that's
Kiss,
another
Kiss
one of
for
those
sure.
I'd bring back for sure.
And this was at a wedding request the other day. Was Mano featuring T-Pain, All the Above.
All the above. Oh my
It
gosh.
just
God.
killed.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
so big. I was like, oh, make note of that because, I mean, since we're doing T-Pain, let's jump over to 𝐸𝐿, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like they were the hook masters at the time.
At the time.
𝐸𝐿, T-Pain, and Nate Dogg.
Right. So of course, like the obvious would be sexy chick
Oh yeah,
or
Yeah,
bitch,
we gotta-
whatever. That would
yeah.
be like the
that's the wedding one.
right.
I actually play the Donza Kuduro, the 𝐸𝐿 version.
Right.
Is the one I
Okay.
like.
I play Snoop and Akon. I Want to Love You. I
But-
play that all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's big again.
Yeah.
Belly Dancer.
Yeah, that's my fave.
Right, nah, nah, nah.
And the Beautiful. That's the one
Oh, sure.
With
we
Snoop
just
Dogg.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, not that beautiful. The
Oh.
Akon. You're so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
I have a good DeVille edit that
Yeah.
he recently did, and
Oh.
we did the DAFS version too of that.
Work hard, play hard.
Man,
I brought
haven't
that
heard
one back the
forever.
other day. Yeah. Smack That.
Smack that. Yeah.
I have two different versions, but would you say the Eminem versus the Must on that or no?
Oh, no.
I think so. But
Yeah?
I used to live in
I
I used to
want
live and work in Metro Detroit, so
okay, fair.
for me it would be
I actually want to comment something that I
Marshall.
found very interesting. Eminem to me is, I think maybe one song in the club. And
Okay.
I'm not saying he doesn't have hits, right? It's just not like Somewhere I Go. And I want to say most, if not all of the 5-minute battle at the Midwest someone has used like one or two Eminem songs in their sets.
It's
Yeah.
because he's like the ultimate battle guy, right?
BRSO, yeah.
It was just interesting because I was like, either one, he has a lot of words that you can go
Right.
off of, or maybe I'm missing the boat.
I don't play much Eminem like in the bar like club. I don't do a whole lot. Lose Yourself, and that's pretty much
That's
Yeah.
and without
Smack
me,
That
I really
me-
want to. Smack
without
That's okay.
me.
the Smack
Yeah.
That verse is okay. I feel like
Yeah,
but yeah.
it doesn't really. It's kind of whatever.
I think my programming's biased because I live in Michigan.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why. But
Yeah. I love me some Eminem though.
Yeah.
Any last artists you want to mention, or
Gosh,
I think that's a good
yeah,
little.
I think that's a good list right
yeah,
there.
it's a good little
It's
list.
a good little list.
And then, kind of with, landed the plane here, and is
To
there
bring it
anything?
full circle?
analogy.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to mention about Midwest, or what you guys can look forward to, or
Yeah.
even if you have dates for next year?
We are going to be announcing the end of the show here dates. It's going to be April 12th through the 14th of 2026. So a couple weeks earlier than this, which is probably going to be better for a few people and maybe worse for a few people, but
Because it depends on when Easter lands.
it's right after Easter again.
Okay, that's good
right
then.
after Easter again. We made sure we're not going to fall on that weekend. But yeah, April 12th to the 14th, you can get more information by going to MidwestDJsLive.com. And we're excited to keep this train going and to keep, evolving as a show and as an entity to help bring education to DJs in the Midwest and beyond. So
I've loved the show so far. It's been a blast. So I definitely recommend everyone check it out. And we're gonna have so much content going out. So make sure you go back and watch it if you missed this. But hit them with all your socials, or where they can find you, or if they want to hire you for sales stuff.
Yeah, they can find me at Mitch Taylor 23 on Insta, Facebook.com Mitch Taylor, Twitter's at Mitch Taylor, and TikTok's Mitch Taylor. Find me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And if they want to hire you for sales, email you.
Yeah,
go to your
Mitch
website.
at MitchTaylor.net. MitchTaylor.net's my website,
Okay.
and you can hit me up there. And I would love to be able to help out. And I'm all about helping DJs grow forward in their business.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
Awesome. That's going to wrap it up for today. And this is our last, our last live episode here at Midwest DJs Live. So we hope you guys enjoyed it, and look forward to doing more of these live episodes soon. Going to wrap it up.
Peace.
Peace.